The day my house burned down, my neighbor smiled. Not a nervous smile, not a, oh my God, I'm so sorry smile. No. This was the kind of tight-lipped, pearl-clutching grin you wear when your enemy just slipped on a banana peel in front of a crowd. And I swear to you, standing there with black smoke rolling into the Virginia sky, I realized something real ugly about human nature. Sometimes the fire isn't the worst part. It was the applause. I just pulled onto Elmwood Drive after a 3-day seminar in Baltimore white-collar fraud cases, the usual parade of greed in tailored suits. I was thinking about a cold beer, maybe checking on my tomatoes. Instead, I caught that smell first sharp chemical wrong. Then I saw it thick smoke pouring from what used to be my living room. Flames had already done their job. The firefighters were packing up. My house, the one I inherited from my aunt, the one I'd slowly paid off with long nights prosecuting men who thought rules didn't apply to them, was a blackened skeleton. And across the street stood Barbara Kensington, clipboard, pearls, yoga pants like she was headed to Pilates, and that smile. "Oh, Alex," she called out, voice syrupy sweet. What a tragedy. Maybe this is a reminder why community standards matter. I remember just staring at her. My ears were ringing from the sirens, from the crackle of what used to be my kitchen. And she's talking about standards, like my home just got a failing grade. See, I lived in Willow Creek Estates. Picture-perfect suburbia. Matching mailboxes, lawns trimmed like they're getting graded by NASA. And ruling over it all was the HOA, which, if you don't know, stands for Homeowners Association, but might as well stand for Human Obedience Authority. Barbara had been president 5 terms straight. Former real estate agent. Spoken phrases like property values in harmony. What she meant was control. I moved in 8 years ago after my aunt passed. Quiet house, small garden out back. Heirloom tomatoes, basil, nothing scandalous. I declined to join the HOA, politely. I'm good just being a neighbor, I'd say. That's when the pink slips started. Unauthorized vegetation, mailbox dent, car parked 2 inches over the curb, $50 per day fines for tomatoes that apparently threaten civilization. I'm a federal prosecutor. I handle fraud rings and corporate schemes that move millions. But let me tell you, nothing is more relentless than a suburban tyrant with a clipboard and too much time. Barbara cornered me once in the clubhouse parking lot. "We're all in this together, Alex," she cooed. "Why fight the flow?" "I'm not fighting," I said. "I just don't need the membership." Her eyes narrowed just for a second before she smiled again. That was the moment I knew this wasn't about lawns. It escalated slow. Rumors. I was antisocial, probably hiding something in that garden, growing weed, avoiding taxes. Funny how quickly gossip fills a vacuum. Then came the vandalism. One night my tomatoes were ripped from the soil. Footprints in the dirt. Sensible loafers. The kind Barbara wore to every meeting. No proof, though, not yet. So I did what I do best. I documented. Cameras, logs, emails. I read every line of the HOA bylaws, cross-referenced with Virginia statutes. I started noticing something off. Dues disappearing into miscellaneous expenses. Board members getting free landscaping upgrades. Liens filed over unpaid beautification fees. It wasn't community, it was a racket. At a board meeting I crashed, technically members only. Barbara sneered from the podium. "Perhaps you'd like to explain why your independence drags down our property values." I stood up. "Actually, I'd love to hear why HOA funds paid for your new patio last year." The room went dead silent. She recovered fast. Always did. "All for the greater good," she sighed. But I saw the crack. After that, the harassment got personal. Anonymous calls to my office, fake noise complaints, my mail tampered with. At the Easter egg hunt, she pulled me aside, whispering, "Accidents happen to properties that don't fit in." I asked her straight, "Is that a threat?" She laughed too quickly. A few months later, my house was ash. Standing in that smoke, listening to her talk about unity, something clicked. The timing, the smirk, the fact the fire chief told me accelerants were used gasoline-soaked rags, some homemade chemical mix. This wasn't faulty wiring. This was a message. And Barbara made one fatal mistake. She forgot what I do for a living. I stepped away from the crowd, dialed a number I've used to dismantle entire fraud syndicates. "This is Assistant U.S. Attorney Alex Rivera," I said. "I need arson investigators and racketeering." By sunset, unmarked vans lined Elmwood Drive. Agents in windbreakers dusting for prints while my neighbors peeked through blinds like it was a Netflix special. Agent Rhea's sharp no-nonsense knelt under what used to be my deck. "Potassium permanganate," she muttered. "That's not hardware store stuff." I nodded toward Barbara's house, lights on, curtains twitching. Subpoenas went out the next morning. HOA financials, security footage. And that's when the twist hit. Barbara didn't light the match. Harold did. Sweet, sweaty Harold the accountant who nodded at every meeting like a dashboard bobblehead. Fingerprints on the accelerant canister. Credit card purchase at a chemical supply store labeled as pool maintenance. He cracked fast. She said we had to make him regret it. Harold sobbed in interrogation. If he wouldn't join, we'd force him out. It was for harmony. Harmony. Turns out I wasn't the first. Poisoned pets. Sugar in gas tanks. Fake liens to pressure sales. Rigged appraisals to tank home values for anyone who resisted. It wasn't just petty tyranny. It was organized crime with better landscaping. The email that sealed it read, Rivera is Tier 3, full removal needed, fire purifies. Barbara tried to claim it was metaphorical. Team spirit, motivation. The jury didn't buy it. Courtroom packed. Media frenzy. Suburban mob boss headlines. I testified calmly, years of practice keeping my voice steady when men twice my size tried to intimidate me. You burned my home, I said, looking right at her because I wouldn't pay your extortion. She didn't look like a queen bee anymore. Suit rumpled, mascara smudged, the clipboard nowhere in sight. 20 years. Arson, racketeering, fraud. When the judge read the sentence, I didn't feel triumph. Not at first. I felt tired. 8 years of harassment. Months without a home, watching strangers film my life collapsing. But when they led her away, pearls gone, wrists cuffed, I felt something settle. Justice isn't loud, it's not flames or headlines. It's quiet. Afterward, the HOA dissolved. Assets redistributed to victims. Harold took a plea deal. Eileen, the gossip queen, testified, tearfully said she'd been scared. We all were, she admitted. That's the part that stuck with me. They weren't evil. They were afraid. Afraid to lose property values, afraid to be the next target, afraid to stand up. I rebuilt the house, bigger garden, same tomatoes, and yes, I put up a sign in the yard, no HOA, no tyranny. The funny thing, the neighborhood feels lighter now. Kids play without someone measuring fence height. People grill without worrying about smoke violations. Barbara thought she was protecting a way of life. What she was protecting was her own control. Here's what I learned the hard way. Power doesn't start as a bonfire. It starts as a pink slip on your door. A little fine, a whispered rumor, and if no one pushes back, it grows. Sometimes the villain isn't the loud tyrant, it's the quiet crowd that lets her reign. Was I stubborn? Sure. Could I have just paid the dues and avoided the war? Maybe. But then what? How many more houses would burn metaphorically or otherwise because someone didn't want to fight the flow? As I sit on my new porch, now coffee in hand, watching the sun hit a neighborhood that finally breathes. I think about that morning in the smoke. She smiled. And that's when I knew I'd already won because I wasn't the kind of man who smiles at someone else's ashes. So let me ask you something. Where's the line between community and control? At what point does following the rules become enabling abuse? If you were in my shoes, would you have joined, kept your head down, protected your house, or would you risk it all to call the bluff? Drop your thoughts below. I genuinely want to hear them. Have you ever dealt with someone who hid behind the rules to justify something ugly? And if you have, did you stay quiet or did you light a fire of your own, the legal kind? Because here's the truth, sometimes justice doesn't come from burning down the house. Sometimes it comes from refusing to let anyone else do it again.